Hi, my name is Steve Larson, and since 1998, I've successfully launched 8 different internet businesses in 6 different industries. I'm a 6-time platinum power seller on eBay, but most importantly, I'm a father. You know, with the magic of the internet today, to be able to bring this presentation to you right now, I don't know whether to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, but whatever it is for you, let me assure you that I'm truly honored about the privilege that's been given to me to explain to you exactly how I and countless thousands of others have made changes in their lives by starting their own web-based businesses and are now in control of their financial future. You know, more than $44 billion, that's billion with a B, was made on eBay last year alone, and we've certainly been a staple in a number of those successes. Today we're going to talk about the 5 points of success, which is the criteria that we use to decide if you're somebody that we're willing to work with. Secondly, we'll go over the 5 points of business launch, which is our industry-proven formula to start web-based businesses from home. And finally, we're going to talk about us being the only company in the industry that's willing to put our money where our mouth is and offer a complete lifetime service guarantee. So what that means is, for the very first time in history, we've completely eliminated the risk associated with becoming a new business owner. So if you have about 20 minutes of time to invest in yourself, your family, and your future, we invite you to sit back and let's get started. So you're ready to make a change. Well, obviously, if you're watching this, then you've specifically decided to make a change in your life and your financial future by creating a home-based business, and that's a great choice. But let me tell you, before you decide if we're the right company that you want to work with, you need to understand one very, very important fact, and that is that we don't work with everyone. As a matter of fact, we're very, very selective in our process. The more than 1,000 people per week that we screen, absolutely less than 1% are actually invited aboard. Why this stringent criteria, you may ask? Well, the reality is our success record is determined by the successes of our clients. If our clients' businesses fail, then we in turn fail as well. You know, we've been doing this for 10 years and we know what works, and we're not willing to put our success record on the line by involving somebody who's not willing to put forth the effort it's necessary to succeed. You know, in the end of the process, you're going to specifically know if we're a company you're going to want to work with, and we in turn need to know that you're somebody that we want to work with. One more thing, if you aren't invited aboard by one of the senior directors, please keep in mind it's nothing personal at all, it's strictly business. So who is it specifically that we're looking for, and who is it that falls in that 1%? And even more importantly, what criteria do we use to decide if a person fits in that 1%? Well, I can go back to my original statement, and that is that our company is specifically dependent upon the success of our students. It's our business to help our student clients create and launch their own businesses. And obviously, if they're not successful in their businesses, then we're not successful in our business. As a result, over the last 10 years, we've developed a very strict 5 points to success criteria that we use to decide which candidates have the highest potential to succeed. As a result, those 5 points to success have been specifically adopted and are the industry standard for screening candidates to identify those that have the highest potential to succeed. So what are the 5 points to success criteria that's used to decide if you're in the 1% and therefore a person that has the highest propensity to succeed in a home-based business? Well, I'll mention them briefly here now, then we'll cover them in detail. But success point number 1 is time. Success point number 2 is teachable. Success point number 3, investment. Success point number 4, decision maker. And finally, success point number 5, motivation. That's a combination of each one of these things that we have found as a criteria that can really establish if you're somebody that can achieve success. Success point number 1 is time, and the question that you have to ask yourself is, do you meet our time criteria? Or more specifically, are you willing and can you commit to working 10 to 12 hours a week to launch, manage, and grow your new business? You know, this is certainly a question that's going to be asked of you by one of our program directors before they put together a business launch plan that will make sense to you. Over the last 10 years, we've done business launch processes with many, many people, and we found that there are certain people that in the end just aren't willing to put in those 10 to 12 hours a week. Now, we're not talking about rocket science here, but it does require the ability to follow direction and the ability to make a definite commitment of 10 to 12 hours. So if you can answer to the affirmative that yes, you can put aside 10 to 12 hours a week to do your business, then let's move forward. Success point number 2 is teachable, and the question you have to ask yourself is, are you or can you become teachable? You know, Webster's Dictionary defines the word teachable as capable of being taught. So the question is, can you suspend what you may already know or have been taught in the past from experience or from somebody else and follow the guidance of a professional coach or mentor? Are you willing to carry out such instructions and assignments as they're given to you by a professional coach or mentor? You know, oftentimes I hear people say, well, I've got absolutely no experience on eBay or the internet or any computer skills whatsoever. Many people actually believe that this is a handicap, but let me assure you that nothing can be farther from the truth. No experience means that your professional coach won't have to take a whole long time unlearning a lot of the bad habits that you may already have. So if you can answer yes to being teachable, then let's continue to move forward. Success point number 3 is investment. You know, business owners the world over understand that it takes money to make money, and if you're going to become a business owner, you've got to be of that mindset. But the question that I have to ask of you is, if a proven launch plan that's laid out by one of our senior directors makes sense to you, are you willing to make a financial investment to launch your own home-based business? You know, the first thing that comes to mind for most people when asked that question is, well, maybe, but how much? What are we talking here? You know, that's a good question, but right now, at this stage, we don't have the ability to be able to lay out specific numbers. And the reason is because we don't understand where it is that you are now. We don't understand what your goals are and where it is that you want to go. So until we have that information, it absolutely makes no sense to lay out any kind of a plan or any kind of, you know, money numbers. But let me tell you this. If somebody came up to you and said, would you like to buy my car at $6,000, wouldn't you have a whole bunch of questions for them so that you could identify if that was a good deal? Like, how many miles does the car have? What is the year of the car? What kind of car? There's a number of questions before you can accurately lay out and understand and quantify if that number is a good value for the deal. So let me tell you this. One of the things that we do understand is that most people don't have a lot of money, which is why every one of our program directors can complete a business launch plan that requires absolutely no money out of pocket. Very, very important. So if you can answer yes to the fact that you're willing to place a financial investment into your future if this business plan makes sense to you, then let's keep going. Success point number 4 is decision maker, and the question is, are you a decision maker when it comes to your future? You know, with more than 10 years of experience in helping people launch their own web-based businesses, one thing we have figured out, and that is that decision makers are action takers, and action takers have what it takes to succeed. You know, I'm reminded of a young couple a number of years back that had started a home-based business with us. They were walking through one of these mall outlet stores and came across an entire pallet of these Apple iPod MP3 players, which at the time were not very, very popular. They had just been introduced to the market. And the husband queried the wife, asked her if she thought it was a good idea that they should purchase some of these for sale on their own website or through their eBay store. And they had discussed it a little bit, decided that they would do a little bit of research, and in the morning, if the research panned out, they would certainly come back and buy them. Well, don't you know, the next morning, after completing a little bit of research, they thought it was a good idea. They went back to that very store, and the piece of wood from the pallet wasn't even left. So what we know is that people that can recognize something that's good and that makes sense to them, they pull the trigger and they take action. Those are the people that are going to succeed. Just as a reminder, if you're married or in a committed relationship, we're going to require that you and your partner be available to go over the business launch plan with a senior director. And the question is, if you're presented with that plan to launch your own home-based business, and if that plan makes sense to you, can you and your partner make a commitment to make a decision? We don't care which way you answer, whether it's yes or no, but one thing we don't accept is think about it. So if you can answer yes to making that decision, then let's move forward to the last point. And finally, success point number 5 is motivation. And the question we have to ask is, do you have the motivation necessary to make your new business a success? And more specifically, what drives that motivation? You know, for many people, college for their children is certainly a goal. Others are concerned with debt. Perhaps you aren't satisfied with some of the money you've been able to save for the future in the form of your nest egg, or maybe it's bills that are a concern to you. Even more likely, do you have enough invested and set aside to see you through a happy retirement? You know, the bottom line is, if you identify what drives your motivation, then you're likely to keep pushing forward when others would certainly give up and quit. Remember, just as you are in the process of evaluating us to see if we're a company that you want to work with, we in turn are evaluating you to see if we want to work with you. You see, we know that every one of our business launch products and services work. It's taken almost a decade to develop our system of success. The only unknown here is you. So I suggest you take a few minutes to identify what drives your motivation and offer it up to the program director that you speak to. That way they'll be sure to consider it when deciding if you're a person to invite aboard our team. All right, so we covered the 5 points of success, and the question is, are you one of the 1% that we actually invite aboard? Are you willing to commit 10 to 12 hours a week to launch, manage, and grow your new business? Can you follow the guidance and assignments of a professional coach or mentor, somebody that's done it and have gone before you and is successful in the field? After being presented with a business launch plan by one of our senior directors, are you willing to commit to making an investment? Keeping, of course, in mind that 95% of the time, our business launch plans require absolutely no out-of-pocket money. You know, the time and effort that's required to assess your current situation and tailor a business launch plan that fits your current and future financial goals is considerable. Therefore, it's absolutely necessary that you commit to making a decision before we'll set aside our resources to build and present you with such a plan. Again, whether you choose yes or no is not important to us. The only answer that we don't accept is, I need to think about it. And finally, have you identified what drives your motivation? Ask yourself, where would you like to be in 5 years financially? And more importantly, can you reach those goals doing what you're doing now? You know, if you've answered yes to each one of these 5 points of success, then you're certainly somebody we want to talk to. Now for the fun stuff. Let's have a look at our 5 points of business launch. It's the complete business launch plan that's created thousands of successful entrepreneurs, and will do the same for you. Much like the 5 points of success criteria that was used to evaluate you, more than a decade of experience in trial and error has enabled us to develop what we call the 5 points of business launch. Now, I'll first mention these briefly, each one of them, and then we'll go into them into more detail a little bit later on. But the 5 points of business launch are: point number 1, knowledge; point number 2, products; point number 3, market analysis; point number 4, eBay and website; and finally, point number 5, marketing and SEO. We've successfully put together and used this 5-point business plan to launch thousands of successful internet businesses, and we can show you exactly how we'll do that very same thing for you. Business launch point number 1 is knowledge. Of course, knowledge is the single most important asset that a new business owner can have. The question is, who has the knowledge that you need, and more specifically, how do you get it? You know, we bring more than a decade of knowledge and expertise in launching internet businesses from home, and we know specifically what works, and we know specifically what doesn't. If you're chosen, you're going to be assigned a personal, professional coach or mentor that's going to guide you every step of the way. Beginning with the very, very basics, that coach or mentor is going to work with you to understand what your experience level and skill set is, and then they're going to offer guidance, advice, and weekly assignments working with your experience level and skill sets to get you where it is you need to go. You know, each one of our coaches and mentors, just like the one that's going to be assigned to you, is 100% eBay certified. And what that means is that they're recognized by eBay as being successful in their field. Your coach or mentor is also going to be the same person. This is very, very important because, of course, this fosters continuity, leadership, and trust. But more importantly, you're working with the same person from the very beginning on through to the end. You know, in the end, we've got to be able to work out a way where we can convey to you what it is that we know and the products and services that we use. We provide all of the tools necessary, and then we teach you step by step how to use them. This very process has worked for countless thousands, and we're sure it's going to work for you. So let's move on to the next business launch point. Business launch point number 2 is products. And of course, for your new business to succeed, you've got to have a consistent and a reliable source of products to sell. You know, finding that source of products is the very first roadblock, but the second is securing a long-term relationship with those product sources to ensure your business success. You know, the bottom line is if your product source or your source of products ends up drying up, then your sales dry up, and if your sales dry up, your business dries up. You know, a small number of people come to us and they've got an idea of a product that they'd like to sell. They've already established a niche, and if that's one of you, great. We know exactly what to do to assist you. But if more often than not you're in the majority, you're one of those people that has absolutely no idea what it is you're going to sell. You don't know what product sources are available out there, how to approach them, and how to secure a long-term relationship with them. You know, the good news is you don't know how, but we do. Let us show you. Your professional coach is going to provide you access to some of the best product sources in the world, from drop shippers to volume wholesalers to market retailers. They know exactly what to do to help you provide a long-term, reliable product source that's going to ensure your business success. This very process has worked for countless thousands, and it'll work for you. Let's go on to business launch point number 3. Business launch point number 3 is market analysis. Now, what is market analysis? Simply put, it's a system that provides you information so that you as a small business knows what to sell, when to sell it, how to sell it, and what to sell it for. You know, it's a vital key to any successful business. Unfortunately, it's one of the most neglected. So, question is, how do you get accurate, real-time information in a format that can be easily read? And more importantly, where does that kind of information come from? Well, the answer is our industry standard and award-winning market analysis software. You see, our market analysis software